Hello everybody and welcome to your yoga Hiit class. Let's begin at the top of our mats, feet hip distance apart. Allow the shoulders to settle down the back. Inhale as we sweep those arms all the way up towards the ceiling. Lengthen the spine. Exhale as we dive forward, standing forward fold. Inhaling, let's make space, finding a flat back, and exhaling as we fold back over. Peel yourself all the way up to standing, roll the shoulders down the back and settle. Inhale as we go again, sweep the arms up. Exhale, big breath out as we dive down, standing forward fold. Inhaling, make space, flat back, and exhaling as we fold over. Gently peel yourself all the way up, strong, powerful, shoulders settle. Inhale, sweeping up, lift a little taller every time. Exhale, diving forwards. Inhaling here as we make space, finding a flat back, and exhaling as we fold. Let's peel ourselves back up to standing. Inhale as you sweep those arms up overhead. This time, take a side stretch to the left. Feeling that space and delicately taking it over to the right. Stretching through that left side body here. As you come back to center, peel those arms open, interlace the hands behind the back, straightening the arms if you can. Feel that openness through the chest here. And then sweep those arms all the way back up to the ceiling, diving yourself down, standing forward fold. Having a little dangle here, maybe taking hold of the forearms, framing the head, taking a little sway if that feels good for you. And then placing the hands onto the ground, bending the left knee, planting the left hand and sweeping the right arm up towards the ceiling, a standing twist here, opening up through the back of that right leg. Let's change sides, so peel open onto the other side, drawing the belly to the spine. Feel that rotational twist through the torso here. Gently bring both hands down, softening through the knees ever so slightly, interlacing the hands onto the back of the head and gently assist the chin towards the chest. So stretching into the neck, the upper back, all the way down into the lower back here as you slowly breathe out. Release that grip and peel yourself all the way back up to standing. Inhaling, sweep those arms high overhead and then interlace the hands, taking them in front of you, curving through the back, rounding the spine, making space in between the shoulder blades here. And then extend those arms all the way up to the ceiling. Lift up and out of those hips, taking the feet a bit wider here and bringing yourself down to a yogi squat. So knees turning out in line with the toes, having a gentle sway first to open up through the hips. And maybe if it's available for you, finding a yogi squat, elbows on the inside of the knees, pressing the palms of the hands together. Let's reverse that. So lift the tailbone, taking a wide leg forward fold now. Taking both hands over towards the left leg, going deeper into the left side body here, into the hamstring. And then walking the hands over to the right. So stretching out through the backs of those legs, making space. Bring the feet back to hip distance apart. Find space with a flat back. Exhale as you fold over. And then stepping back, let's find a downward facing dog. Popping your left heel off the floor. And then popping the right heel off the floor. So a little pedal here. Getting into the ankles, into the calves, the backs of the legs. Keep lengthening through the spine here, tilting the tailbone high. Find some stillness in a downward dog, both heels falling heavy. And then let's all come down onto our knees, finding our way into child's pose when you're ready. Maybe turning the palms of the hands over, opening up through the shoulders here, slowing down the breath. Resetting the hands onto the ground and peeling the body up into a cat and cow on all fours when you're ready. So we're dipping down, opening up through the chest, arching through the spine, and then curving the back, pressing away from the floor, separating in between the shoulder blades in the upper back. So a little bit of movement, a bit of mobility, allowing yourself to truly arrive here on the mat today. finding that lengthened spine, having a little fidget, a little wriggle jiggle, and then meet me back in a downward facing dog when you're ready. Rippling through to a high plank, and then finding our way back to downward facing dog. So this is our first exercise here. So I'm inviting you to come into a downward facing dog, lifting the tailbone high, and then rippling your way through into a high plank, shoulders over wrists, lengthening through the spine. And we're going in between these two poses. This is our first yoga exercise here as part of our yoga Hiit. So for 1 minute and 15 seconds, we are lifting the tailbone high, and then we're rippling the body forwards and finding a high plank. Your options to modify is to be on the knees, taking a child's pose and coming into a half high plank if you prefer. So really start to be aware of the body here, feeling some heat through the shoulders, stretching through the backs of the legs, feeling that ripple through the spine. And continuing to smile as you do so, as you start to feel the body firing up here in this yoga Hiit practice. Every time you're coming into a pose, see if you can go a little deeper into each pose here. And then we slowly come down onto those knees and take a child's pose. Have a little wriggle if you need to. Our second exercise here today, we are going to peel our way through into our high plank when you feel comfortable. Then we lower down, coming through a chaturanga, pressing yourself through to a cobra, and then lifting the tailbone as we come back into our downward dog. So we're going to peel the body through, finding our high plank, lower through, squeezing the elbows towards the spine, pressing up into a cobra, and then leading with the tailbone as we find a downward dog. So the important part as you lower down is that you can come onto the knees for this if you prefer. Okay, so I'm doing the modification here with you now. So we could come into child's pose, ripple ourselves through to a half high plank, squeeze those elbows in as you lower down to the ground, and then slide through as you come up into cobra, leading with the bottom back into child's pose. So you have got two options here, taking whatever level works best for you. Being really careful as we come into the lower down, you want to lock the elbows in towards the rib cage and then sliding through as you press away from those hands, opening through the chest in our cobra. Now please remember, just because this yoga Hiit class is timed today, I want you to move slow. I want you to move with intention, feeling strong, feeling powerful as we make our way through this yoga Hiit class today. And only taking the class at your pace. Any point you need to rest, to reset, listen to the body. Take breaks whenever you need to. Let's all meet back in a child's pose. Well done. Take a breath. I know the shoulders are getting a little fiery here. So our third exercise, we come into downward facing dog. Now from here, we're going to step into a lizard stance, eye line looks forwards, come back into downward facing dog, and we're going to alternate these stepping lunges. So here we go. We step one foot on the outside of the hand, press the knee out onto the diagonal, and then push off those hands as you find a downward facing dog. Every time you're stepping that foot onto the outside of the hands, make sure the toes and knees are turning out onto the diagonal. And you're pressing the underneath hip through. So you really open up through the hip flexor, through the hip joints here. Yes, we're getting fiery through the shoulders, but also we're opening up, getting some mobility through the hips, through the lower body. Remembering every time you come back into that downward facing dog, lengthen the spine, tilt the tailbone high, and allow those heels to fall heavy down towards the ground. Moving at your pace. If it's getting a little much, maybe come down onto the knees, maybe take a child's pose. Anything that you need to do to recover here today is all good, I promise. So just moving at your level, at your pace, but feeling strong every time you step through, grounding down through those hands, holding your own. and enjoying this strong, fluid movement here today in this class. Let's come down to those knees. Enjoy that child's pose. Taking a beautiful breath into the back of the body. So on our fourth exercise now, peeling yourself up into downward facing dog, the right leg lifts high. We step the right foot between the hands, reach the arms up, find a high lunge, come back down with the hands and sweep the right leg up, three-legged downward facing dog. We're going to continue with the same leg. Okay, so the hands come down, we sweep the right leg back up through our three-legged downward facing dog. The knee comes through to the chest, steps in between the hands, lift up, ground down through those legs, and then sweep it back. Now, please remember, all modifications are available for you here on the mat today. Please adapt however you need to. Feeling that breath starting to move around the body here. Feel that energy, that fire. As we get warmer, we start to be more aware of the heat in the shoulders, in that front supporting leg, pulling up through the back thigh. This heat, this energy that you are creating here on the mat. Feel the red blood cells boosting around the body, the oxygen moving a little quicker, going to all areas, all corners of your body here today. And keep moving in your mind. I am strong. I am powerful. I am determined. Keeping that positive mindset with you as we move through this strong practice here today, because it's powerful, it's dynamic. Let's reset ourselves. Walk the feet all the way in towards the hands. Glue the feet together and roll yourself up to standing. Our fifth exercise is our chair squats. Taking the bottom back, glue the knees together. From here, we sweep the left arm back and then bring it all the way back up, taking it to the right arm that goes back, and then sweeping it all the way back up. So we're alternating, sliding the hand down the back, watching the hands. So coordinate the movement with the eyes as well. Staying in that chair squat. So recap, your feet are glued together, the knees are glued together. You're pressing your bottom back. Imagine you're sitting into a chair here. The toes should be able to wriggle. The spine stays long. There's not a curve through the back. And every time you reach those arms forwards, you're trying to get the arms in line with the ears. So drawing that belly towards the spine, active through the core here to look after the lower back. That big firehouse, the powerhouse in your core. Maybe sinking the bottom a little bit lower if it's available for you today. So this is our fifth exercise. And then all we simply do is repeat those 5 exercises again. And that is this practice completed. So stay strong. Use that breath, especially as it starts to get a little bit trickier. Think about the posture, the energy through the back of the body. Squeezing those shoulder blades together and then lifting all the way up. Dive yourself down, a standing forward fold. Beautiful. You are halfway. Let's step ourselves back. Downward facing dog when you are ready. And then rippling ourselves into our high plank. So we're back to move number 1, team. So we're coming into our downward facing dog and then rippling the body forwards, finding that high plank. So leading with the tailbone and then rippling the body forwards to a high plank. Remember your modifications, okay, is to come onto the knees and to come in and out of our child's pose, as I am doing with you here, and then into your half high plank. So there's always this modification to come back to. And there's nothing wrong with taking modifications. At least you're here, giving yourself this time here on the mat. So separating those hands wide, grounding down through the fingers, feeling that strong connection between yourself and the earth beneath you. Finding the gorgeous posture every time. Make sure that technique doesn't fall because we're doing a longer duration than we normally would. To keep the power, the definition, the determination there. making every one count. Beautiful job, everybody. Let's come down onto those knees and find a child's pose. Slow, steady breaths into the back of the body here. Only when you're ready, peeling yourself through. We start on the knees here. We're going to lower down, sweep ourselves through to our cobra. Lead with the tailbone, come back into child's pose. So our chaturanga here. We peel the body through, lower down. Sweep through with the chest as you open to cobra and then lead with the bottom for child's pose. So this is the first modification. However, you could join me in a high plank on the toes, lowering yourself down, sweeping the body through, and then leading with the tailbone as we find a downward facing dog. So you have those two separate modifications here. Lowering yourself down, sweeping through, and then leading with the tailbone as we come back up. So even as you start to fatigue, as the body starts to maybe slow down, I want you to be really proud of yourself and to be really grateful for the power, the strength that your body is giving you here today on the mats. Hitting every posture with intention, with purpose. Making sure you're not just flying through the motions, you're feeling the movement. You're acknowledging how every part of your body is feeling here. And you will not be beaten. You will not give in. You will fight to the very last second. Let's meet back in child's pose. One of our favorite places to be probably in this practice today. Turning the palms of the hands to face up. Give the shoulders a little moment to reset. Let's come on to our third exercise, our third posture here. Downward facing dog into our stepping lizards now. Here we go. So we alternate, stepping one foot onto the outside of the hands and then make our way back to downward facing dog. So as we're coming into this lizard, again, recap the technique. The toes are turning out onto the diagonal and the knee is following in the same line as the toes. You're pressing the other hip forwards, keeping that back leg long and sliding forwards enough so that the shoulders come directly over the wrists as you come forwards into that lizard. Try to lift the chest, taking the eye line forwards every time you step through. And make sure we're still focusing on that gorgeous alignment of the downward facing dog as we come back. Heels are falling heavy, tailbone is lifting high, lengthening through the spine, ears in line with arms. All of those key points that you know. And enjoying this moment here on the mat. Yes, it might be tricky, it might be a little strenuous, but enjoying the feeling it's giving you. Feeling that heat, that liveliness, that fire within. And maybe surprising yourself with how strong you can actually be when you put your mind to it. Taking that with you on and off the mat here today. The power is there. Let's settle into a child's pose. Take a moment to feel that energy moving around the body, firing up. Let's come back through. Downward facing dog. This time the left leg is going to sweep up for our three-legged downward facing dog. The foot steps in between the hands. We lift the hands for our high lunge and then reset the hands down. Sweep the left leg back. Three-legged downward facing dog. So we're doing this now on the other side. Please remember modifications. You could pop the back knee down on the high lunge if that feels better for you. Making sure the knee is stacked over the ankle as you come into the lunge. And making sure as you sweep up, the hands come directly above the shoulders and the shoulders directly above the hips. A gorgeous lifted, lengthened posture at the top. And a strong, powerful base underneath. And again, moving slow, feeling that movement. Be aware of the left leg sweeping up. Be aware of the knee drawing in towards the chest before you step the foot through to the top of the mat. Feeling all of that space. Feeling the air as you sweep that foot up. feeling the ground beneath the hands, the back supporting toe, testing the balance, and enjoying this fluidity, this water element style as we move through this practice today, continuously moving, feeling, being. And then softly, let's step those feet in. Standing forward fold, our last posture here today. Rolling yourself up, glue the feet together. It's our chair squat. We take the tailbone back and then we sweep one arm down by the side and reach it back forwards. So here we go. This is our last posture. Glue the feet together, glue the knees together, taking the hips back so you should be able to wiggle your toes. Keep the spine long here. Make sure you're drawing the belly button towards the spine so the back is supported. Trying to reach those arms in line with the ears every time. Quite tricky to get that space there, opening through the chest, the strength in the back chain of the body. But remember, do your best. Don't be too hard on yourself. You're here, you are giving it a go, and that is an achievement in itself. So using that breath every time you sweep the arm back, unite the body, the breath together as one. Watching the hand as it goes back, taking your eye line with, really feeling that connection with your body and your mind here today. Go a little bit lower into those legs if it's available for you. Let's finish on a really big high. You've done such a fabulous job as we've moved through this practice today. You should be super proud. Hopefully you're still smiling at the end of this class here. I know it has been a challenge. Inhale, sweep all the way up, and exhale, dive yourself down, standing forward fold. Bending the knees, making your way onto your bottom and slowly coming down onto your back when you are ready. Taking a little window wiper with the legs, gently rocking those knees side to side. Allow yourself to arrive here on your back, head rested on the ground, chest is open, shoulders are softening. Let the legs completely drop to the left, taking a bit of a lying twist here. Keep that right shoulder pressing into the mat. Maybe closing off the eyes here, gently sweeping those legs over to the right. Take a moment to slow the breath down. Big inhales through the nose and exhaling through the nose also. Bringing those legs back to center, hugging the knees in towards the chest in your own time. Taking a moment to feel that connection between the back and the ground. Then invite the soles of the feet together, open the knees wide, allow the hips to open to settle, hands onto the belly, and slow down that breath even further if you can. Breathing in for 1, 2, 3, 4, breathing out for 4, 3, 2, 1. And again, breathing in for 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathing out for 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly assist the knees back together and gently bring yourself onto your sides, coming up to seated when you are ready. You should be super proud of yourself. You've done such an amazing job here today. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way up. Invite the hands into prayer, coming close to heart center. You did great. Namaste.